Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You're always most welcome. Well, today, a very interesting kit review, something quite serious obviously. It's actually a new kit from ICM that's just arrived in the country, and it's the infantry weapons and chevrons of the armed forces of Ukraine. Now, slightly, obviously a bit of a sensitive subject. We don't want to get into any politics, it's not my thing. He says with flags in the background, but I'm not, I'm just showing flags. But the fact is that these weapons that we're going to see, they're not exclusive to the Ukrainian armed forces. In fact, there's some British weapons in there as well, even in American weapons and all sorts, Russian weapons, etc. A real combination, but it's just an interesting set and something that is very contemporary. Obviously we've had this terrible war going on, which I think a lot of us would like to see come to an end as soon as possible, but it has to be done in the right way, doesn't it? Not at any cost, I think as the Ukrainians would say. And we, you know, I'm sure most of us admire the great struggle and defence they're putting up for their freedom, and nobody can argue with that. It's like we had in the Battle of Britain all over again, really. But this has been dragged out over a long time, and yeah, it's not nice to watch, is it? But anyway, these weapons are of interest, especially if you've got any of the many ICM kits now. There's even a new one coming out next month. There's lots of them that have got these figures of the armed forces of Ukraine, soldiers, etc. We've even had the female soldiers, combat troops who had their drones, and we've had them with dogs and all sorts of things. You saw the Leopard tank review I did recently where they had a dog, and the crew were like a separate set, or you can have it with or without the crew. So there's a lot of interesting stuff, and I think that this merits a closer look, because I think you'll find it very interesting. So let's have a look at what we've got here. It includes the armed forces chevrons as well for their units, which is very interesting. And they do have some quite striking motifs, it has to be said. But look at some of these weapons, you'll recognise most of them, I'm sure. You've got AK-47s, you've got variants of that, you've got some of these heavy caliber Russian weapons, heavy caliber American weapons. A German weapon, World War II, is it MG43 I think it is? We've even got a Maxim from the 19th century here, look at that. British Maxim machine gun. We've got Swedish stroke British FN SLR rifles, looks like an AR-15 or similar. AK-47 variants again. American, is that Browning 50 cal I think we've got there. We've got a Stugner anti-tank ATGM, and we've got RPGs, it's just all sorts of things, handheld bazookas, like an N-Law, Law's rocket type thing. We've got a more advanced bazooka. I know this one, but I can't remember the name of it. And then we've even got drones and things at the bottom, and anti-tank bazookas here. So there's a lot to look at. It does on the side give you a little bit of a flavour. Again, you know, AK-47 with a grenade launcher, MG43, looks like an AR-15 to me, that one. Another AK-47, basic one. I forget this one, we'll come back to that in a second. And the Stugner, I think it is. And a pistol, I think it's a Glock actually, with a holster. So very interesting. So it's 1/35 scale, of course, kit 35749. On the side it basically says the kit contains 165 parts for assembly of the infantry weapons of the AFU. 26 parts are for the assembly of the Maxim machine gun 4. So that's an entire kit, just of the, excuse me, a tiny kit that's of the Maxim itself, just of the Maxim. And it says, you know, you need glue and assembly skills and paint to complete them. So let's have a look at what we've got. I think it'd be quite interesting. Oops. And see what we have here. We've got our Ukraine flag in the centre. As I thought, that's the Maxim bag, look. And then we've got a bag for all the others. It's going to be very interesting actually. I do like any subject of sort of infantry weapons. I've always liked them since the days when I was very small, and I used to make the Airfix multi-pose figures I had back in the, I won't say when, but a long time ago. Best part of 50 years. And they had the weapons like MP40 machine pistols and things like that, and you assemble them all separately, and the Tommies had their Lee Enfield rifles, and they had the Thompson machine guns and things like that. Right, let's read you what it says here. Again, lovely artwork. And it says, The main burden of the full-scale war that began in February 2022 fell on the ground forces of Ukraine. These include mechanised motorised infantry, mountain, tank, I think they mean mounted, tank and artillery brigades. However, the most active participation in combat operations is seen from the air assault and marine infantry brigades, which often carry out missions in the most challenging areas, I'll say. The Ukrainian Defence Forces have demonstrated their ability to fulfill necessary tasks with dignity and have become arguably the most combat-ready army in the whole of Europe, with extensive combat experience. Small arms and anti-tank weapons play a significant role in the armament system of the armed forces of Ukraine. Infantry units currently deployed in combat-heavy areas, utilise domestically and Soviet-manufactured weapons. Among the Ukrainians' own-made weapons, notable examples include the Stugna line of anti-tank missile complexes and the widely used Fort series pistols. Oh, that's a Fort pistol, okay. Special forces employ the Maluk, known as the Vulcan assault rifle. We'll get to that in a second. Additionally, there are increasing use of weapons acquired through international material and technical assistance, including the FN, obviously. I'm sure those have come from either Britain or Sweden, for sure. Anyway, we'll see. Let's have a look. So it's recommending here, the best ICM paint set is 3039. Let's have a look at what we have here. Oh, we've got a whole set of decals of all the units of the chevrons of the armed forces of Ukraine. Look at this. This is going to be interesting. They're tiny though, but I do like the fact they're putting decals in because we do need that when you're doing figures. I noticed that Tamiya have finally started to do it as well, which is good. So I'm going to have to put you on full zoom to get this in, to have any chance to see anything, because they are small. Can you see that? I'm going to have to hold it still. And they're all detailed, so I'll probably have to go through the guide at the end rather than maybe show you these. But so here we have got a heck of a selection of all these different units, all defending their country with great bravery and courage. So we'll come back to that. We'll get back into these and see what they are saying. Ah, right, okay. Now then, are they going to tell us? Yes, they are. There is a guide. Okay. Is it in English though? Oh yes, it is. They've got it in English and in Ukrainian. That's good. So you've got the sprue map here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sprues. I think we've got there. 7 sprues in total, including the many sprues for the Maxim. Yeah, that's cool. So I'm going to zoom in and go through this a little bit carefully because I want to get it right. So number one is the AKS-74 assault rifle with the GP-25 grenade launcher. I called it the AK-47 because I'm not familiar with the variants, and it's a derivation or a development of that, clearly. Number 2, that is the Malyuk assault rifle that we mentioned with the silencer. Gosh. Number 3, that is the Malyuk without the silencer. Number 4 is the AK-74 without the grenade launcher. So there's all the different options there. Number 5, that's an AK-74 assault rifle with a silencer and a telescopic stock. Number 6, that's the AK-74 assault rifle as it comes. Number 7, that's the AK-74, sorry, that's a 74U. So that's the later version. It's got different sights, I think. This is the AK-74 without the fancy sight on it. Can you see the difference? And number 8, that's the AK-47 with the GP-25 grenade launcher underneath. So isn't that the same as number 1? WS-22. Not quite the same. Different grenade launcher, I think. And then number 9, this is when we get into the, starting to get into the rocket launcher types now. 9 is an RPG-18 grenade launcher. Number 10 is an AK-47 with GP-25. Is it? Number 10? Sorry, no, number 10 is just the AK-47, standard one. 11, here we go, this is the one I did recognise, of course, because it's what the Brits used to have in the British Army. The FN-FAL 50.61 automatic rifle, or SLR as we used to call it. And then we've got 12 and 13, which are a SOG knife in a sheath, or 13 is a Glock knife in a sheath. And then 14 is a Fort pistol in its holster. And then 15 is a Beretta pistol in a plastic holster. That'll be a 92F probably. 16 is a sniper rifle, a UAR-10, complete with silencer. Over here we've got 17. That's a UAR, sorry, I'm getting a bit confused here. 16. 17 is a UAR automatic rifle. UAR 15, so it's a development of the first one. This is more with open sights and a bigger magazine. No silencer, obviously. 18 is an FIM 92 Stinger. That I knew it was a Stinger. That was the one I couldn't remember. The Stinger, the anti-aircraft missile system. Now these have been used extensively and they are devastatingly effective, aren't they? They've been used against helicopters and aircraft and all sorts. They are, and that's just a handheld thing that one man can operate. Absolutely lethal weapon, and they've been around for 30 years, but they're incredibly effective. 19 is an RPG-7 grenade launcher with a grenade on the front and a separate grenade there underneath, which is A. And then finally 20, that is a PKM machine gun. Now that's just the first 20. There's more. This time they actually document them separately. This is easier to follow actually. So here we go. So this time we've got an M2 Browning heavy machine gun, a 50 cal, and this is how you assemble it onto its tripod, complete with belt feed. Next one we have, sorry, getting a bit of ahead of myself there. So then we've got this automatic grenade launcher AGS-17, complete with a drum of these mini grenade charges, like a small grenade launcher, aren't they? I mean, they're about the size of a sort of, not quite as big as a can of Coke, is it? It's like a sort of a deodorant, half the size of a deodorant spray, that sort of size of munition that's fired. And then you've got the actual, again, the tripod mounting of it. That's how it looks when it's finished. Then we've got our SPG-9 mounted grenade launcher. Now this is really an anti-tank weapon. Again, a tripod it sits on. This is a big beast. This is a proper heavy anti-tank weapon. Then we've got the German, they're actually calling it the Beretta MG42. Beretta obviously making it under license today, but it is of course the German weapon of design for World War II, the MG42. I think I called it the MG43 mistakenly, but I knew what I meant. It's easily recognisable, isn't it? It's got the changeable barrel. And then we've got on the other page, we've got the Stugner. I'm just going to zoom you back slightly for this. This is the Stugner, so you start off building up this big tripod, and this is of course a very, very lethal, very effective anti-tank weapon. I'm not sure there's a lot of protection against it really. It was certainly within close range. It's very, very dangerous and very lethal weapon. And then it has a sighting system, an infrared night sight as well. So a very, very potent piece of equipment, complete with a day and night readout display, and that's it when it's finished. Wow, what a thing. And then finally, the last ones, we have the FPV drones, which of course I'm sure many of us who watch the news or watch YouTube will be very familiar with how lethal these can be. From observation and reconnaissance to actually delivering weapons, they are quite astonishing what they can achieve really. And I thought my radio control aircraft hobby was an innocent hobby as well. And then finally we've got the Maxim machine gun, which dates back to the 1800s, the late 1800s. Look at this. It's the first sort of, I think it's the world's first heavily mass-produced machine gun, and of course it kept the British in India and Afghanistan at the time, in the late 1800s for decades. Lethal weapon. And it's complete with its armour shielding as well, which is quite impressive. Definitely looks a very old, outdated looking weapon in the modern battlefield, but still very dangerous. You know, they're using the First World War to great effect at places like the Battle of the Somme and all over the Western Front. And the Germans had the Spandau, their equivalent of it, lethal, absolutely lethal. And then we have, interestingly, all these insignias for the chevrons, the shoulder straps and the patches of the armed forces of Ukraine for every division. Artillery. I hope I'm not giving away too much information here. I may not dwell on this too much. We don't want to give away too much information to people that we don't want to have it, but beautifully done, very, very clear. Excellent when you've got some of those figures, and it goes on. It's quite a lot actually. It goes on to the back page as well, so there's a huge amount. Huge. It shows the entire forces basically. Yes. Well, maybe a bit too much information there. I don't know, but I'm not an expert, but I'll keep out of that. Let's have a look at the plastic then. It's going to be good. We'll start with the Maxim because that's a kit within a kit really. It's a kit on its own right. If I can find out how I get in it. Another one of these that's been so well set. I've got to say the packaging is fantastic actually. I almost sound like I'm grumbling, but I'm not. It's almost too good. Well, they're so nicely sealed, these bags. I wish that others would copy that. Yeah, especially Tamiya actually. Tamiya and Revell can learn from it a lot. Right, so here we've got the Maxim. Ooh, they've done this beautifully. Let's have a look at this. So here is the main weapon. And you can see it's got the armour shielding, armour plating there at the top. Shielding. And here's the weapon itself. You can see the loading port and the cocking lever at the back there, other side, the cooling jacket at the front, you've got your ammunition box underneath, and then here we've got, this is all the mounting for it really to go on its little tripod, and we also have the actual belt of ammunition. Look at that, all the bullets on the feed belt. And then you've got little wheels which go, it almost becomes a little trolley, doesn't it? They wheel it about the battlefield with these like the arms that they pull it around with. There's a name for those, isn't there? They use them on gun carriages and things, and I can't remember the limbs they call it. Yeah, there we go, the limbs. And then you got your two wheels there, and then all the connecting and support framework. Isn't that nice? That's nice, isn't it? Well, that's quite a good start, I'd say. So I'm quite impressed with that already. I think these others are mainly going to be moulded in one piece. A lot of the infantry weapons are anyway. So we'll just pop that back in its bags. It's quite a simple affair. These small bags are, it's not difficult to get them back in without making too much noise. Because there have been some complaints. I don't really blame them. My camera has a very sensitive microphone, and I think it kind of amplifies it a little bit, the noise. So just cover your ears for one more second. Right, here we go. So, we'll start with the small sprues and finish with the big one, I think. So, small sprues, here we go. They've got these AK-47s and AK-74s, which we spoke about. Here they are. I'll try and get this a bit close to the camera. Get a double effect of the zoom that way, because you need to see them up close, don't you? Look at those. I mean, they are so beautifully figured. This has also got the drones. That's the other part. This is the case and the drone in its various components, complete with the drone rotor blades. Can you see them? That's quite impressive, isn't it? I like the case as well. That's very good. Drone and drone case there. And there's your AK-74, I think it is. Those are very, very nice, aren't they? Yeah, we like that. That's a good one. That's the first one. Then we have, oh okay, there's two of those, so we'll ignore that. There's a duplication there. Then we have a whole combo here. So we've got what looks like the Stugner. Yeah, the Stugner. So this has got the Stugner and its mounting box tripod. Starts with the tripod of the Stugner here. Then you've got your AK-74/47s there. There's your Stugner. Just turn it around so you can see the AK-47s on the other side. Aren't they nice? And then we've got the control boxes, and again the other part of the tripod, and the AK-74U that's got the grenade launcher underneath it. Very, very good again. And then we've got this sprue has been duplicated again. We've got some helmets here. Start off with some helmets. And then we have got our grenade launcher here, the little handheld one. Just pop it over your shoulder and fire. Pop the caps off each end and just launch it. Then you've got your assault rifle with the silencer, sniper rifle. And you've got various parts of these bipods for steadying the rifles in the field, in combat. Then you've got your sorry, I forgot the name of that one. What was that one again? That was the one I can't remember. Just bear with me 1 second, I'll just go back to that. Yeah, the one that's got the forward slanting magazine. Where is it? Forward slanting magazine. Is that the W134? The forward slanting magazine. No, that's the Malyuk. That's the one I didn't know. I wasn't so familiar with it. That's the Malyuk assault rifle. It's pointing to the right. And they have two versions of it, of course. One has the silencer and one doesn't. There's the version without the silencer here on the left. Aren't they nice though? They're beautifully formed, aren't they, these? Really nice. This is bang up to date. Latest tooling. 2024 product, this. Absolutely bob on. Very nice. And there are two of those, two identical sprues. So that's a duplicate. And then we have this one, which has got all the really heavy stuff on it. So it's got, I've got to be honest with you, this is actually a little bit warped, this sprue. I don't know why. Seems a bit out of character for them. There's a bit of a warp to it, can you see? I'll zoom back a bit. See the warp? Yeah, it's quite a warp to it. Anyway, let's hope it doesn't warp the parts too much. It's just that you've got the anti-tank grenade launcher, as they call it. It's more of a rocket launcher in effect, really, but and then you've got these other interesting weapons, including the FN, Swedish FN, which is very like what the British used. They didn't have a skeleton stock though. The British Army tended to use it with a solid wooden stock. And then you got your like an AR-15 style rifle, which is a copy, I think, basically. And there you've got your sniper rifle, long distance sniping with a silencer. And again, you've got your belt feeds here. This is for the 50 cal Browning, of which is over here. Your Browning there, complete with its tripod. You've got all the various sighting equipment here. RPG here with a spare grenade. That's nice, isn't it? Let's just turn it around so you can see them on the other side as well. RPG there with a spare grenade. Then you've got your MG42. Now manufactured under license by Beretta, of all people. Interesting, I didn't know that actually, it's quite interesting. And then you've got your AK-47s over here, you've got your drum feeds for various different weapons there. And what's that one? What's that one? I don't recognise that. Just not recognising this one here. It looks a bit like the cannons that were in the Messerschmitt ME-163 Comet. Cannon. Right, I'm going to have to get to the bottom of that, just 1 second. Just bear with me a moment, because I want to know what I'm talking about when I'm telling you this stuff. It's important. There is a picture of it on the front, and it's one that I don't really recognise. It's like a heavy cannon. Oh yeah, this is the AGS-17 automatic grenade launcher, which comes on a tripod. It just looks like a cannon from World War II. ME-163 Comet. It's the shaping of it and the way that it's got the breech. Interesting. And I guess that's it. So it's really quite an impressive collection, as you can see. I mean, they've really gone to fantastic detail with them, haven't they? Just let you have another quick look at one or two of these, because a little bit of a longer look, perhaps. Here we are. the AK-47s, and then you've got your FN here, and then you've got these assault rifles, and there's actually two versions of the FN. There's two of them. There's a couple of everything actually, of the smaller weapons anyway, not the big stuff. They're just singles. But it's a very impressive set, isn't it? Very, very nice. Yeah, I'm impressed. I think they've done it well. What can you say, really? I mean, it's flawless. There's no flash or anything that's going to give you any problems in putting it together. If you get one of these other scenes or the figure sets I've talked about, where you have, you know, the figures, current contemporary figures, and they are in the field there. There we go. In the field, you can put them with these. Put them with the together with the armoured vehicles. Have these leaning at the side. It just adds a bit of depth and dimension to the scene with the diorama. I think I know a lot of us have been shying away from showing this stuff or talking about it, saying it was too soon and it's people uncomfortable. Yeah, it does. I feel that way too a little bit, but it's dragging on forever, isn't it? And I think a lot of us are interested in what's going on. There is a lot of potential for modelers if you want to go down that road. So why not? Anyway, on the kit, in terms of its merits, I think that's a 10 out of 10. I really do. There's nothing in there I didn't like, nothing that disappointed me whatsoever. I mean, it's amazing they've given all those chevrons for the... Again, if you've got the figures, you can just choose which division you want, do a bit of research or whatever. And then pop those insignias and chevrons and shoulder straps. They're all there, aren't they? You know, absolutely incredible. A brilliant kit, that. 10 out of 10. Well done, ICM. Really enjoyed that. Slightly uncomfortable subject, but it is for them, I'm sure, making them as well, you know. I actually left my chevrons out. I'll put those back in. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll give me 10 out of 10 with a thumbs up for showing you that. Say it was a little bit, should I, shouldn't I? But I think it merits being seen, and I would certainly recommend that to you if it's a subject that interests you. Just to have those to go with figures and to go with scenes or lying at the side of a tank and things like that. You know, you could really liven up your models with those as an extra. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show and thought it was interesting. There'll be plenty more coming up in the near future, I'm sure. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Please look after yourselves. Stay well, stay safe, try to stay cool in the hot summer. And until next time, thanks very much and bye for now.